welcome to Paramount Alive, turning the pages of Act 2. I'm your host, Paramount, from A Common Thread Production, inviting you into my corner of faith and life. This isn't just a podcast, it's a living book. Here, we walk through life's chapters together, celebrating victories, learning through struggles, and discovering the faith that carries us forward. Each week, we open a new chapter, a new story, a new lesson. And if you're new here, I'm so glad you found your way to this page. Think of this as a living book, where every episode becomes a chapter, every story brings new insight, and every conversation is an opportunity to grow. My hope and my prayer is that each one of you, my page turners, finds a piece of yourself within these chapters. A moment that speaks to your heart, strengthens your faith, and reminds you that your story still matters.
Live from Katerina Valentina Salon in St. James, New York. She's the breakout author of Scenes from the Play of My Life, Act 1, a fearless influencer, a faith-fueled powerhouse, and a voice igniting purpose across generations. This is the podcast that brings real stories, real faith, and real fire to the forefront. Get ready to be inspired. Get ready to be fired up. Get ready to rise. This is Pam Renna Live. And now, here she is, Pam Renna.
Hi, I have someone really special today in the house with us in the studio. My friend Lana from 8 years old just surprised me. Come say hello.
Hey!
It's a sister, not a friend. Sister. I love you. Love you too. And I want to say again, hello, Robert. Hi, Eve. Thanks for showing up.
Hi, Pam. Happy to be here.
What's up?
Welcome back, and if you're new here, welcome. Today we continue the journey as we step into the next chapter. I just want to talk about something simple but powerful. Have you ever noticed that growth doesn't usually happen when everything's easy? It happens in the waiting, it happens in the silence, it happens in the moments when you're wondering, God, what are you doing? We love all the mountaintop moments, we like the answered prayers, the breakthroughs, the miracles. But what about the middle? What about the process? The process is where faith is built. Now let's be honest. Nobody wakes up saying, hey God, can you test me today? But the testing strengthens you, it stretches you, it prepares you. Maybe you're in a season right now where nothing feels clear. Maybe doors have closed. Maybe you're praying and it feels quiet. But quiet doesn't mean God isn't working. Think about a seed. When it's planted, it goes underground first. It's in the dark before it ever breaks through the soil. If you look at it too early, you think nothing was happening. But beneath the surface, roots are forming. Your roots are forming. Sometimes we want elevation, but we haven't allowed God to deepen our foundation. And without deep roots, growth won't last. Here's the truth. Delay is not denial. Waiting is not rejection. And the process is not punishment, it's preparation. God is far more concerned with who you are becoming than what you're receiving. And when you look back, and you will, you realize that the season you almost gave up in was the very season that built your strength. So if today feels heavy, stay planted. If today feels uncertain, stay faithful. If today feels slow, stay consistent. Because growth is happening even when you can't see it. Right? It's true.
Yep.
And exactly where the next chapter takes place. It's a time when I couldn't see the growth, only the struggle. So let's read Act 2, Chapter 1, the day my world shifted. Are we ready?
We're ready.
We're ready.
I just love my new book. Purple is my favorite color.
Oh, and Pam, I just want to say Beth is saying, hi, Pam.
Hi, Beth. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
I love all my friends that support me. Thank you so much. Okay, so I may get emotional. I'm not sure. This is a live book, meaning whatever we feel, it will be presented. So let's do it. Okay. Maybe it's fight or flight response, protecting me from the reality I'm about to witness. Am I dreaming? Does this really happen? How am I not waking from this nightmare? These are the questions racing through my mind. Is this my reality or just a dream? And if this is going to be my reality, then I don't want to wake up and face the unthinkable. I couldn't even begin to imagine what I was about to endure. The way our minds and bodies react to circumstances is truly a miraculous thing. It fascinates me how we can convince ourselves that everything is all right, even when deep down we know it isn't. In my case, I was definitely not dealing with what had taken place just 24 hours ago. Can you blame me? I almost drowned in a storm surge caused by Superstorm Sandy, and now I had to face the kind of damage we were dealing with. My two businesses flooded with over 6 feet of water. I knew I was in a state of denial, along with the rest of the neighborhood that lived through those 15 minutes that changed everything. I wasn't sure what I was going to see when I entered the cafe the morning after the storm. As I walked in, everything looked exactly the same I left it 24 hours earlier, at least from where I was standing. All the tables were still set, chairs tucked neatly underneath, glasses standing tall. No water in sight, no visible damage. For a moment, relief tried to settle in, until I looked behind the bar. That's when I saw it. The watermarks on the coolers, thick, chalky lines that told the real story. The water had absolutely made its way into the cafe. I'm not sure why I thought there'd be no damage when I had clearly seen the water tower over me the night before. I guess my mind wasn't ready to accept what my eyes were seeing. Sam and I remained hopeful, but deep down we both knew the truth. The water would undeniably have an effect on compressors in those units. We have to wait until the electricity was restored to know for sure. In my heart, I whispered a prayer. Pray for spiritual growth, stay positive, keep the faith, and see where the new path, my direction will lead. As we walked to the dining room, I kept thinking, how was it possible that the glasses hadn't fallen off any of the tables? The wooden banquettes had white, salt-like film stretching across the entire bottom. Without a doubt, I knew this would affect the wood. The banquette cushions carried a faint, sour salt water smell. I'll never forget that. It was so horrible. And still slightly wet to the touch. All seemed okay in the kitchen at first, until we noticed a watermark left on the walls. They reached up to about 6 feet. That meant every compressor had been submerged in water, just like the ones behind the bar. Even though the water pushed through the space, everything on the counters remained in place. Just like the dining room. It was eerie. Like the storm had passed through and carefully set everything back where it belonged, nothing overturned, nothing scattered, just still. I tried to make sense of it. Maybe the water came rushing in, was also draining out the floor drains throughout the cafe. It could always be worse, I thought. I convinced myself there had to be a way to fix this. Repair the compressors, reorder the food, remove the damaged bottoms of the banquettes, and clean the cushions. Our dishes, napkins, plates, flatware were untouched. Even the POS system looked unaffected. I mean, how bad could it really be? That thought completely watered down what I was feeling, no pun intended. It was time to see what the basement looked like. We walked over to the stairs, flashlights in hand. I stopped at the top. The beam of light barely made a dent in the darkness below. Not enough to make me feel any better about what was down there. I stood there for a second, trying to make sense of what was in front of me. And I saw it, along the walls, that line, the same white, salty film we had seen throughout the cafe. It ran all the way up to where I was standing. The water had to reach the top of the stairs. My grip tightened on the flashlight. I knew what was down there. I didn't need to see it again. The cold, the weight of it. Not knowing what you were stepping into or what was brushing past you in the dark. My body remembered before my mind could even catch up. I couldn't do it. I wasn't going down, so I stood there, right at the edge. After the cafe, we walked towards the flower shop, bracing ourselves for what we might find. The flower shop was closer to the river, so I was sure we wouldn't be in for any surprises. We opened the door and stepped into the storefront. At first, it looked no different. The plant walls were still there, the flowers, the arrangements, the orchids in glass vases. Everything looked like it was still in place. I walked in and made my way up to the steps of the main floor. To the right was the reception desk. That's when I saw it. The computer monitor and tower was flipped over, folders soaked, phone on the floor still wet, dripping. The desk calendar was completely ruined, appointments smudged, paper stuck together. I opened a small file cabinet, water came pouring out. I just stood there for a second. Where did it all go? There weren't any drains in here. I looked around again. No water on the floor. The fish tank was still on the wall, but there were no fish. Even though the room had flooded, the bathroom was untouched. The hardwood floors are buckling from the moisture, lifting in uneven waves like the building itself is trying to breathe. I remember standing there thinking, if this is what the first floor looks like, what are we about to walk into the basement? At that point, I honestly couldn't get any worse. I was wrong. That's when it really hit me. This place took it just like the cafe did. I had to stay positive, keep the faith. To the left of the reception desk was a closet near the stairs where Sam and I kept our personal things, kind of like a storage unit. I opened the door, not knowing what to expect, only to see that all of my bins are filled with water. All my memories were just bathing in salt water. Yep, we found where the angelfish went. I couldn't even imagine, right? I couldn't even imagine how I was going to go through all of this stuff. I had cards written from my dad that obviously couldn't be replaced. Tons of photos I've taken over the years, collectibles, memorabilia from childhood, my yearbooks, just to name a few. These things held memories of my life, and now they would become part of the landfill in Staten Island. I looked over the staircase across from the closet. The water had come all the way up, higher than I thought. Along the staircase was a shelf where we kept merchandise for sale, everything floating. The metal floral statues, vases, plants, files, and papers coming from the basement, and more. I couldn't even process it. I stood there and looked across the showroom toward Violet and Samantha's desk on the second level. A few steps from where I was standing, everything looked untouched. Their computers were still on the desk, papers stacked, chairs pushed in like any normal day. From a distance, it looked okay, but we wouldn't really know until electricity came back on. This was also overwhelming to process. We had two businesses that were chewed up and spit out by steam. There was nothing more Sam and I could do at that moment, so we stepped outside and started walking, just to see what everyone else was doing and how everyone else was holding up. But the streets were quiet, not the normal quiet, an uncomfortable quiet, the kind of quiet that happens after something bad had already happened. Every business had been hit by the storm. Some owners stood outside their stores just staring inside. Others were sweeping water and debris to small piles like that was going to fix something. Sandbags are piled high in front of some stores like the Salty Paw, but they hadn't done much. The water had come anyway. There was debris everywhere, wood, garbage, pieces of people's businesses, people's lives. Puddles of water covered the streets. Trees were uprooted and lying in the road like they had just given up. Storefronts were covered in crisscross masking tape. I remember seeing a single shoe sitting on the curb, probably from the shoe store on Front Street. Just one shoe. It was just one shoe. Cars were overturned, some covered in what looked like seaweed and debris from the East River. We had to walk around things, sometimes over them, just to get to where we needed to go. Nobody knew what to say. Everyone just kind of looked at each other and shook their heads. I remember thinking the place we once called the South Street Seaport would never be the same. It didn't look like the seaport anymore. It looked like a war zone. And what made it even more unsettling was the darkness. No lights anywhere. A complete blackout. Sam and I knew we should get back to the apartment before dark. We had walked into the seaport for a few hours, and it was more than enough to process in one day. Our minds were full, our hearts were heavy, and we both knew tomorrow would be the day we really had to start facing everything. Tomorrow we start fresh. We had to conserve our phone batteries. Thankfully, we had a few chargers that were still charged from the storm before the storm, sorry. Something we hadn't thought much about at the time, but now it felt like a small blessing. We didn't know when electricity would come back, so we used them carefully. It had been a long day, and I knew there were many more like this ahead of us. I decided to take a shower and try to wash the day off. The water was freezing. No heat, no hot water, just cold water and a lot to think about. Afterward, I put on some comfortable clothes, lit a few candles, sat on my couch with a bottle of Sancerre and my Marlboro lights, trying to quiet my mind after everything we had seen that day. The apartment was quiet. Our streets were dark, and all I could think was stay positive, keep the faith for whatever lies ahead. The upside to not having electricity is that you're forced to just be. There was no distractions, no noise, no television, no lights, just time to think. There was power in other parts of the city, just not in the areas hit by the storm, ours being one of them. Friends and family offered us just places to stay, but Sam and I both felt it was best to remain close to our businesses. Those businesses were like our children. How could I leave them behind? I knew I had to stay focused and somehow figure out how we were going to recover from all this. It's a
It
live book.
it was a rough day.
So,
Yeah,
And I persevere, don't give up.
right.
A lot of feelings.
A lot of
Absolutely.
feelings.
Sure.
Remember I mentioned about healing together, this is it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Together,
absolutely.
We're all going through it.
And you're gonna feel the emotions, you're gonna be in the moment with me, this is really great.
Right.
This is really great. You do it for that.
We're going through that
My
day.
friend from 8 years old is here, that's my, I love it.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, let's get focused.
Right.
Absolutely.
I had to keep moving forward and not thoughts of everything that could go wrong take over my mind. I couldn't help but wonder what the lesson was in all of this. Faith had taken me down hard. Why did it have to be so drastic? Was it because I didn't see the signs? Or maybe I chose not to see them. I felt blindsided. Like this was the only way to get to my attention. My mind kept going, trying to make sense of everything, trying to figure out what came next. How was I supposed to get through this day by day when I couldn't even fully grasp what just happened? I could feel it in my gut. This wasn't going to be easy. It was going to be a long road, a real struggle, and I held on to one thought. There are people out there who have it worse. I knew I had to persevere, don't give up, my favorite P. I had to hold on to that. And we'll be right back.
Page turners, it's time to turn the page. Up next.
Sometimes the biggest growth happens in seasons where nothing feels absolute. The season where you're waiting, rebuilding, and wondering what comes next. Today's guest is someone who understands growth in the waiting. She started small, faced unexpected change, and instead of giving up, she stepped into something bigger than she ever imagined. I got chills. That's the angel validating. Please welcome Katerina Valentina.
Katerina!
All right. I have to thank this woman. She's amazing. She gave us a beautiful studio that you made this podcast happen today. So thank you, Kat.
You're so welcome.
Thank you, Kat.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Now, I know Kat for 5 years. You moved from the city to St. James, and I did a hairstylist. We found you at this one salon,
Pavlova, yeah.
So why don't you tell your story? Tell our page turners your story and your faith and how you went from where you were to where you are today.
So my name is Katerina. I grew up just loving hair. I wasn't really like the best student. I didn't really love going to school, but I was always creative.
And then you are.
I loved everything from drawing to artwork to music, singing. I always excelled in that. So I needed to find a place in life where I felt like I belonged. And I always just believed that you should find your niche and try to excel in that in life. So after trying out college and all of those, educational background fields, I decided to just let it go and just be myself and go to beauty school, because that's something I've always wanted to get my hands into. So I did. I went to beauty school and I finally felt like I was exactly where I belonged. Yeah. And ever since then, I loved the career, and I grew it. I started small. I worked for a gentleman, Rick, at Pavlova Salon, who he mentored me and he guided me and taught me everything that I know, and I'm so grateful for him. And then one day in the process of working there, I met you. And one day I was doing your hair and you said to me, Kat, have you ever thought about opening your own place? And it really, yeah.
I knew she was bigger than that.
You opened something
Nothing like
up
that.
in my mind, and I said, she has a good point. I would always love to do that, but I never felt like I could. And you said, Kat, start small and work your way up. And from that moment, something clicked, and I'm like, you know what? She's right. And the opportunity came after Rick retired, who I was very loyal to. The opportunity came to me to open up a salon suite. So I had those words in my head that you said, start small and work your way up. And that's what I did. I took a leap of faith and I opened up my little salon suite. And honestly, so a salon suite is a new concept. Salon, it's a great way to start a salon business where you have it's a room. It's usually like around 10 by 10 little room. And You create it, you decorate it exactly the way you want it, and you create your own little business by yourself.
It was beautiful.
I
loved it.
And you know what? That's like where I got my first feel of having my own little space, and it was my own little
Your
room.
boss.
Yeah, and that's honestly where I realized when I left there, I did take a leap of faith, and it was very scary. I didn't know who would follow me from a big, beautiful salon to this little room, but that's where I learned that people will follow you, and they did.
They believed in you.
They did. They believed in me. They followed me. And that's where I started realizing, like, okay, these people, I have a following. I have a real following. It's not just a salon following. It's mine. And from there, we were there only 8 months. I found a smaller, I found a storefront, a small storefront where I took it from there. And that grew, thank God, very fast. And God led me from there to where I am now.
Tell them how this came about. This came out of nowhere.
Yes, this came out of nowhere.
Space.
I found myself in a position where I needed to find new space, and I needed to find new space by January 1st of 2026, and this space was available to me. Somebody reached out to me saying, hey, I have a beautiful salon space available to you January 1st.
Wow.
Would you be interested in taking it?
See how that works?
It was not
Meant to
planned.
be.
I actually planned to go back to a salon suite from there, but that was not God's plan for
No.
me. God's
That's right.
plan
He had a
was
bigger
to-
plan for you.
And I am a huge believer in following God's guidance. I feel that God leads you to where you're meant to be in life, and that opportunity, it really gives me the chills because I needed space by January 1st, and this salon became
You
available.
persevered, and you have a lot of grace. You really forged forward. You've gone through a lot in 5 years. I've seen your growth. I've seen your struggles.
Right.
And I think that your faith, and you correct me if I'm wrong, really kept you and held you. I got another chill. Those chills are angels validating what you're saying.
Hey, Kat,
Oh.
so Lisa made a comment. It's amazing when you can take a dream and make it a reality. Kudos to strong, powerful women. Wow.
Thank you.
Yes,
Oh, I love that.
right.
I love that.
And I feel like I have been a dreamer my whole life. I've always been this crazy dreamer, and I don't stop until I make these dreams a reality. So,
That's amazing.
I know that's why I left you.
Aw.
Pam's favorite P, persevere.
That's right.
Yeah.
I never give up.
Mhm.
But I'm so happy for you. This space, you created such a beautiful space. You walk into Katerina Valentina Salon, you feel the love. You feel the energy, and it's a team, but you feel, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you could feel that
It's
everybody loves each
elegant
other.
and classy.
Yes.
Elegant
Yes.
and
Just
classy.
like Kat.
Thank
Yes.
you. I appreciate it.
But when you walk, you could just feel the good energy. You could feel that everybody's works with each other, they love each other, like being here. They're like, what are you doing? And it shows.
And I'm so grateful for the people who believed in me, not only my clients, but girls who came here to work for me, who believed in my dream, and they're thriving now. And I'm so grateful for them. I'm grateful for everybody in the community. They've been amazing.
And you know what, Kat, you
Really
could
love
feel
it.
the spirit of God in your your
Yes.
space. It's your home, and you
Yes.
feel it, and you really do feel it in your space.
And I always want to feel God's presence and thank Him for everything that He's blessed me with.
Yes,
Without God, nothing happens.
100%.
Yes,
You have to have the faith.
for sure.
It gets you through any bad time, good time, it's all the same. It all just have that faith.
And I made a promise to God when going into this business, for Him guiding me here, that I would repay Him somehow. I don't know how, but I want to give back. I
You've been
want,
giving back.
yeah. So,
You're sponsoring my show.
Thank you.
Yes.
So-
You're giving back so far. I love that. Thank you.
I want to do good for people in this journey as
You
well.
really do.
You are giving back. That's right, because you're sponsoring Pam, and Pam is spreading his word. So
Yes.
that's how you're giving back.
Beautiful. I love
Yes,
that. Absolutely.
that's
Do you
right.
give any of our page turners any advice for anyone watching that could help them in their journey, if they have a dream or?
What I would say is just you have something that you're naturally good at in life. There's a talent that everyone has. And everyone's talents are different. And I genuinely believe that you should take the talent that you're naturally born with and use that as your motivation, use that towards your career, to take you to, a level that will help you achieve your goals, use what you're naturally adapted with.
The gifts that God gave you.
Yes, the gifts that God
He
gave
gives
you.
everybody a gift.
Yes.
It's whether you hear it, whether you feel it, and then
Yes.
whether you believe enough in yourself to go after it. Because it's not an easy road. Do you agree to that?
It's not,
It's not.
but with love and passion for what you do, you just
And support, your love and support from
Yes.
your family, your
Yes.
friends.
I'm grateful for my family, my friends, and my community.
And Kat's getting married in June. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
So not only was she looking for a new space, she's planning a wedding on time. Then she turned 40 years old. She looks amazing.
I
All at
know,
once.
no
So
way,
you're such a
No
strong
way.
woman, too. And she did it with grace. Never complained.
never.
Nothing. That says a lot about you.
You just
Yeah.
do what you gotta do, you just have to take it one day at a time and just keep moving forward,
That's the key, one day at a time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you,
And-
Pam.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
If you're in the area, please come see our salon. You will love it. You won't be disappointed. It's
Thank you,
beautiful.
everyone.
Thank you, Kat.
Thank you, Kat.
Thank
We'll be
you.
right back. That question you just saw during the break, does it resonate with you? If it does, I encourage you, when this podcast is over, to sit with it and think about it, what it means for you. And with that, we're closing today's chapter, but remember, the story doesn't end here. Next week, we turn the page again. Thank you, page turners, for being part of this living book. And a heartfelt thank you to God for guiding me, opening doors, bringing all of you here. I'm truly grateful. And if today's message spoke to your heart, please take a moment to like and share this channel. And when you do, you're not just supporting me, you're helping someone find this message who truly may need it. So live my 5 Ps: path, pray, positive, power, and my favorite,
Persevere.
Persevere.
and let faith lead the way. See you next week. Welcome my guest, Kayla, a 16-year-old girl living with EOE and celiac disease. She's truly an inspiration. Thank you, Eve and Robert. Thank you, Lena, for coming in. I can't believe it was a great surprise.
And Pam, before
Yes.
you go, I
Yes.
think we have someone else. You're killing it, Pam. Emily Brown.
Oh, Emily.
Hey.
Thanks, Emily. Oh, I love it. Well, until next time, keep turning the page. And again, this is a living book, so we get emotional. You'll see the passion. You'll see the moments. I got chills, and these chills from head to toe is angels validating this message. So have a great week, and thanks for showing up. I'll see you next time.